I was wrong. I was so very wrong. Or maybe I wasn't wrong. Maybe I just had a change of opinion. Hey, hi, hello! Welcome to the video. I am Ariel and I will be reviewing, / talking about, Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. And I know, if you watched my last video where I talked about Ready Player 1, I said Ready Player 1 did not need a sequel. And I stand by that at that point. But I'm so glad we got one. This book was freaking fantastic. I absolutely adored this book. So I will be talking about the book in a non-spoilery way, and then I will go off into a spoiler-filled tangent. So if you don't want to watch that, I'll let you know when that starts. So this book pretty much starts after Ready Player 1 ends, and it will progress into the future in this world. Now, just within a few pages of getting into the book, something amazing happens. It's one of the most momentous things that had happened to the Oasis since being able to get into it, essentially. After this happens, it changes things. Not just in real life or in the Oasis, it changes how people do things. Some people that can't do things can now do some things. So that is getting a little too spoilery, so let's back up. So in this book, there is a whole new adventure. And the new adventure is something that Wade cannot do alone, but there's certain parts of it that he has to do alone. But he's never really alone. So Wade, Aish, Artemis, and Shoto are all very wealthy, and Artemis, H, and Shoto are off living lives in the Oasis and out of the Oasis, and Wade is still kind of stuck by himself doing what he did best, which is being in the Oasis and kind of being a loner. He doesn't really grow a lot. He didn't grow emotionally, I will say. He did get older, but you know what I mean. In this book, there are a ton more pop culture references. I do think it's a little bit more toned down than the last book, and I'm thinking that's just because a lot of people got on him because they're like, oh, there's too many, but there's not. There's some that are extremely blatant in your face, and there's some that are, just kind of fit in there, just here and there, sprinkled everywhere, and if you get them, you get them, and if you see them, you see them, and if not, you can always look them up, because that's good too. Knowing things is good. So now, when I say pop culture references, I don't just mean stuff from the 80s. There's stuff from the 90s, early 2000s. They're just everywhere. They're sprinkled. They're like birthday cake. There's just sprinkles everywhere. You just find the different colors. This book is a little bit shorter than Ready Player 1. It is 366 pages long. It's still not extremely long, super easy to get through, and in this book you go on a completely new adventure. And it is a crazy one. And the ending had me kind of freaked out a little bit, because the ending touches on something that I think a lot of people that think about that kind of thing are on the fence. Well, that would be good, or that would be bad, or we shouldn't do that, or we should do that. I can't really get into it in this part of the video, but I want to. So now I'm going to talk about some things that are just like slightly spoilery. So if you don't want to hear it, you should click off right now. Are you gone? Are you still here? Okay, cool. If you're still here, you're like me, you just gotta know things. Okay, cool. If you've read this already, or if you just want to know, the major discovery, the ONI, is something I think that will probably be here in maybe 20, 30 years. And when I read it, I thought, oh my god, this is just like Sword Art Online. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna hook my brain up to something. And then they talk about Sword Art Online, and I was like, oh yeah. I wonder if he got that from Sword Art Online. Or maybe he had plans for that already. So there's a few things in this book that stuck out to me that were sort of pop culture references. They talk about how Kira's favorite doctors were Peter Davis, Jodie Whittaker, and David Tennant, and I love all of those doctors. I love Doctor Who. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, so that hit me right here. Also, they talk about Gullah Gullah Island. If you were a late 80s to early 90s baby, you watched Gullah Gullah Island, and it was probably your favorite show on Nick Jr. Another cool thing that I would love, if I was to ever go into the Oasis, I would go straight to this planet, and it's the Miyazaki slash Studio Ghibli planet. I would live there. I would live there. 100% live there. So if you've read this already, on page 115 is when I started feeling like Kira had something to do with the ONI, and I mean, I didn't see where it was going to end per se, but I thought, okay, what if maybe, just maybe, she helped develop it, or maybe that's what killed her and the car accident was like a staged thing. But I mean, I was wrong. I was actually kind of happy I was wrong. I like the way it ended. I actually really loved the way it transitioned into that ending. There's one of the coolest parts for me, as far as like what he calls the Neil drop, is when they are going to see John Hughes in his office, and Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want by the Smiths starts playing. I immediately had to stop reading, and I looked it up real quick, and I listened to it while I continued to read, because it made me smile so much that I needed to listen to the song as well while I read. I actually played some 80s music while I read the book because it just felt really, really fitting. Another cool thing that I found in the book was when he was going through the quest, the Princess Bride quest, and they talk about how you play each main character, and how Indigo Montoya's was the hardest. And I'm thinking, oh my god, that would be the hardest, because, you know, I'm assuming you wouldn't have to have any sword skills per se, but you'd have to work up into it, right? On guard. So I want to talk about the one thing that I didn't really enjoy in the book. There's one thing, and it was the second to last big all-out fight scene in the book. Well, the last one that Wade was physically involved in, and we were in, you know, the Middle Earth scenes, and I didn't enjoy the Lord of the Rings books, and I didn't enjoy them. I felt like they dragged on forever. The movies weren't bad, but I wasn't like enthralled. For me personally, that drug on way too much. Like I was not into it until Artemis got there, and I didn't get bored. I was more of thinking like, all right, let's pace this up. Come on. It was the slowest paced part of the book for me, and I think that's mostly because I am not a Lord of the Rings / Middle Earth / that fan. My favorite named weapon in this whole thing, it's my favorite weapon, period, was Dork Slayer. For the fact that Og felt the need to have a weapon to kill what could be the reanimated consciousness of his friend, you know, to kill him once and for all with the Dork Slayer. Like, that's like one of the, like, you're still friends with them, and it's kind of like you need to kill him, but you also need to make fun of him in like a loving way, or at least that's how I took it. I thought it was hilarious. So my final thoughts for the book is, I absolutely loved it. I think that if you're watching this and you haven't read it yet, you absolutely should, especially if you even remotely enjoyed Ready Player One, because it's not redundant. It's not something like, it's not just Ready Player One copied, pasted, blue cover. Well, blue and black cover, but you know what I mean. So I think that it is one of the best books he's written besides Ready Player One. I'm a really big fan of Ready Player One, and now I'm a really big fan of Ready Player Two, and if you haven't picked it up, pick it up. I think it's great. I think you're going to love it. I think the people who are going to love this book are the people who are, again, super, super into Ready Player One are super nerdy. And if you pick this up and you haven't read Ready Player One yet, pick both up from your local library, secondhand bookstore, new bookstore, borrow from a friend, whatever you gotta do. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe to my channel. I don't have a set schedule, but I like to post things, so come along with me. Bye.